Welcome to another episode of Goddamn Liberals. In this short episode, Robert recaps a few social media posts and news items of the day. Here is your host, Robert.
So boy howdy, what are we going to talk about now that that guy is out of the White House? And I understand he has spun up an office of the former president down in Florida. I guess because he's bored and has nothing else to do. Bless his heart. All of the folks that were members at Mar-a-Lago, apparently it's not what it used to be. I read a review that the food is not as tasteful as it used to be at Mar-a-Lago. Imagine that. And someone was flying a airplane to say that the loser is back home down in Florida. So we'll see where if he drifts off into the sunset or has whatever fun he wants to have with his MyPillow guy and whoever else wants to get on there and have fun with him. Some other news that's been going on. I saw a friend make a comment earlier today that he wishes that the president did not have to sign many executive orders. Well, when you have the power, you kind of take it and go with it. This friend that I'm talking about is probably a little more middle of the road than I am when it comes to the political spectrum, but he hated Trump. I think he would agree that Trump probably signed a lot more executive orders than he should have. But we have to undo all of the executive orders that, Trump and all of his cronies got us into, the mess that they did. And this particular one that this article is focusing on is climate change. We have to do something. I've had these conversations with my mother in South Georgia. We have gone through neighborhoods that have been decimated by tornadoes. Tornadoes upon the magnitude that she has never seen in her lifetime. She was born in 1959 and has lived in South Georgia her entire lifetime. And just a few years ago, we were out in part of the town, that had just been decimated by tornadoes and climate change. To deny that climate change is something that is, just radical, it's, not happening, it does not make sense, and it's only going to shorten the planet's lifespan. I have family members who have newborn children. There's a good friend of mine that has just announced, that they're going to have a child. I honestly say that these folks are braver souls than I, bringing children into this world. We've only got one planet. The folks that are hitching a ride on these rockets going up into space, they're spending $55 million a pop just to go up and spin around in space and come right back down. They're not going to Mars, to another planet to live and leave Earth. For the foreseeable future, we don't have another planet to go to. We have to stop the climate change. It's a fact. And for any lawmaker to just poke their head in the sand and take money from the fossil fuel industries to make their lives easier for them to make money, it's not sustainable. I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on, it's just not sustainable. And if you want to call me a radical liberal, whatever the hell you want to call me, go right ahead. But, there you go. The next article that comes up here, Biden's approval rating is higher than Trump's ever was. That was from Yahoo News yesterday. I'm recording this today on Wednesday, January 27th. I'm sure that's going to nail a coffin in the thin skin, and the guy down in Mar-a-Lago. Let's see, next up, the U.S. is considering mandatory COVID tests for domestic flyers. Now, if you backtrack a little bit, there are a number of changes that have been put into place for travel. KLM, Royal Dutch, from the Netherlands, they have stopped all international travel, period. One of the concerns they had is they did not want to strand their crew members overseas, was one of their biggest concerns. It's scary. These COVID tests, I will admit, for the holidays, probably not the 100% the best choice, but I did fly. I thought it was safe. Knock on wood, I'm still here. The family was, safe the whole time. And, but we've got to get the vaccine out to everyone. We've got to get, continue to make this safer and safer. And it looks like, again, mandatory testing for domestic flyers. We'll see where that goes from the CDC. Gun violence. So there have been a number of stories come out over the past few weeks with gun violence, bringing up that lovely lady Marjorie Taylor Greene, indicated support for executing prominent Democrats back in 2018 and 2019. Words matter. I mean, at this point, all we've been through over the past 4 years or 5 years, you cannot discount the fact that words do matter. And to be in any position of power or leadership and to use that position to say, again, that you want to execute someone or, and the things that administration has gotten away with over the 4 years, things that coming out of their mouth. It's honestly deplorable. It's scary. It does not make this a safer world whatsoever for people to, threaten. These members of Congress that are crying like babies that they have to go through metal detectors to go to their place of work. Well, what about the kids that go to school? It's quite, hypocritical for a lawmaker to complain about, going through a metal detector or making sure that their, place of work is safe when these kids sometimes don't even have that to go to school. And this is really a messed up situation for these folks to, stand on these soapboxes and try to claim that that's the case. But what they do in Russia, so this is another news story right below this. I may be pronouncing this wrong. Yulia Navalnaya. The husband was poisoned and detained. Now she is piling on pressure for Vladimir Putin. So I caught a new series on Netflix yesterday about spycraft, I think was the name of it. And they spent a good bit of time talking about the Russian government and mostly Vladimir Putin and how he actually goes up against his adversaries, doing things extremely like, meeting with folks for dinner, putting polonium in their meal so that it makes them sick and or kills them if you happen to disagree with him. The Republican Party and the previous administration, I think they wish they had that power, but of course, they would put other types of pressure out there, fear of, prosecution or fear of ostracizing from everything else. But boy, that's to be friends or owe money to the Russian regime and maybe be scared of your own life because you owe money to the regime. That's quite a catch-22 to be in there, Mr. Trump and the Trump crime family. But then right below that, Trump's standing rises among Republicans, says a survey. So, I mean, they're in bed with the folks that they love. This is how they want to run things. This is how they, CNN right below that says Republican extremists could doom party to endless defeats.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Goddamn Liberals. We welcome your feedback. Please comment on this episode below or send us an email at feedback@liberals.com.